It's Daybreak on Rise News. Time for the press preview. First look at the front pages as they arrive. We begin with this day. And APC convention, Buhari governors agree on consensus candidates. For the sixth time, Atiku declares presidential bid to run on the PDP platform. Saraki intensifies consultation, meets PDP stakeholders. Now the federal government talks tough, moves against oil thieves as President Buhari deploys Silver, Kyari and the Chief of Defence Staff to the Niger Delta region. PDP governors lament a fuel crisis, reject unsubstantiated subsidy claims.
All right, let's take you to the Punch. The headline is on Electoral Act. National Assembly plans appeal, tackles Judge Malami, insists on amendment. Now, these has three riders. But Jabir Miller, the Speaker, asked Attorney General not to tamper with the Electoral Act. Court ruled that the provision be deleted, not part of our law, Malami. APC moves to bar appointees from voting at convention primaries. And then just at the topmost, interesting, telecom subscribers grew by 2.03 million in January. That is coming from NCC. You can find this on page 21. The story on the National Assembly tackling the plans to appeal 8412 is found on page 2 of the Punch. And just below that, you see that picture? Lots of blue cars, blue and white. It says 1,000 taxis will provide employment, says Somolu. I think we'll leave it here for the Punch.
The Nation newspaper is leading with the APC as well. President Buhari governors agree on Adamu as consensus chair. The National Assembly to appeal judgment voiding Electoral Act, Section 84, subsection 12. And the Shoika decries protest over AUVC. The IMF is ready to lend more to Nigeria. And President Buhari hosts APC chairmanship aspirants to dinner.
All right, let's look at Tribune. The headline, Electoral Act again. NAS to appeal judgment on Section 8412. This is found on page 3, but it has two riders. We are working to implement court order. That's coming from the AGF Malami. And then Bajabir Miller wants Malami against hasty enforcement. You would wonder, that's the court speaking. But just below that picture, with Sanwo-Olu, APC governors endorse Buhari's choice for party chairman. It has about two riders. As zones work towards consensus candidates, Adamu, Musa, Al-Makura, Akume, Mustafa, Omishere face screening committee. Senate caucus meets CECPC today, and just on the top mast there, fire-raising bridge, shops at Bombo. That road has been closed for now. Nigeria, a sinking ship needing urgent rescue. These are not my words. These are Atiku's words. He's declared his intention to run for the race in 2023 in spite of the fact that the zoning committee has not brought out its zoning formula. That's for the PDP.
The international papers now. The Independent, UK faces biggest fall in living standards on record. The Chancellor in the Commons speaking yesterday where his tax giveaways were decried as a pre-election bribe.
Well, let's just say outright that all the papers, the foreign papers, are on the same issue. The forgotten millions say, what about us? I think I remember Michael Jackson singing that song, what about us, what about us? Okay, on to the next paper, because, I mean, basically they're saying the same thing. The next foreign paper. Ken?
Okay, let's get the next foreign paper here, and this is the Eye, biggest hit to living standards since age of rationing.
All right, the same thing you have, I think we can go over to Bello after this, because the same thing we have all over the Guardian, the Times says biggest fall in living standards since 1950s, and then the Guardian says cost of living surges and Sunak squeezes the poorest. That's really a wonder. You should be helping out the poorest, but the millions are crying out, why are you leaving us out? All right, for the press preview, Ken.
Emmanuel Bello, good morning. Good to see you. We're starting off with this day and the APC convention. Buhari governors agree on consensus candidates. They're settling for Abdullahi Adamu. That's the former governor from Nasarawa State. Emmanuel, the days of tears and weeping, are they over in the APC?
Well, good morning, Kenneth. Well, yes, what's clear is that at least APC is giving a very strong, force now. I mean, it's making a very strong showing. That picture on the front page of the This Day newspaper tells it all. The governors coming together with the leader of the party, the President Buhari, standing there, making a show of unity. Saying that, look, we're the party to beat. They've got 19 governors in the north, and of course, like over eight or so in the south, and that's a very strong, formidable force. So this is a show of force, if it was in military time, and not only making a showing, but actually also walking the talk, talking about the fact that they are ready for some form of consensus. Showed that for all that we say about President Buhari, is probably actually maybe very good at what brinksmanship. Is able to come together, bring his party together. It's hard for me to see that even very aggrieved governors, one of them that was really aggrieved the other day, is in this picture, and they are smiling from showing that, look, they can actually get their act together. So I think what will remain now is the countdown to the 26th, to Saturday, and to see how they're able to actually do this without so many people getting aggrieved. So this also, it's whether you like it or not, it's actually a referendum on the power of the president or his ability to broker some kind of, some unity, some stability in a party that a few weeks ago we thought was almost heading to a bust. This is a show of force. What will remain now is how all of this translates into their actions, into what happened on Saturday. So it's going to be interesting to watch how that pans out.
Emmanuel, this is the second time he's showing leadership. The first was when he sent out a letter asking everybody to sheath their swords and fall in line with the CECPC chairman, Yobe State Governor, Maimala Buni. He's also said, well, if you want to still contest, you can, because APC is democratic, but that they're working on getting consensus. They're getting consensus. There may be no election that day at the convention. That's one. You talk about that. And then Atiku declares presidential bid the sixth time before the zoning committee brings about a zoning formula. Afebua was attacking him just a while ago. We're reading that here. What do you make of all this? What's your sense of the two things I've put before you, Emmanuel?
Well, the other bit about consensus candidates, I think what we need to be asking ourselves now is what kind of national chairman former Governor Abdullahi Adamu will be. He will be, if he eventually emerges with the kind of support that we're hearing, and as the consensus candidate, he is going to be pitting himself against the national chairman of the PDP, Professor Yoche Ayu. How do they even up? What were the factors that even went into, the president picking him? Was age the issue? Was, Abdullahi Adamu, not many people will remember him, but of course he was governor of Nasarawa State, and he's had his controversies too. So what kind of image of the APC are we getting? And is it the person to lead the party into victory? Remember that Professor Yoche Ayu is the opposition, national chairman of the PDP. How do they even up when you just oppose them? Yes, and then of course for the sixth time, and it's a good thing that this day is reporting that it's the sixth. Not many people remember that there's a law. Atiku has actually made this bid, those numbers. So it's good that we put some figure on it. That this is the sixth time Atiku is saying that he wants to be president. Some people will say maybe the seventh time it might come, or the eighth time. What's the number? But this also is the story of resilience. The fact that he is ready. And he said it yesterday, he was very clear about it. He said, look, he has got ideas and that we need ideas. We need to run, the country need ideas. It's a beautiful country and he wants to be president. So for those who were wondering, why do you want to be president? He said it yesterday. He said, look, I've got great ideas that can translate into some real concrete action to move the country forward. And it was a huge declaration like in the past. Atiku is always saying, look, I've got the ideas, I've done this in private sector. I've even done some things in the polity before. He talked about his own story, his life story, growing up, as an orphan and able to achieve what he said. If he can do this for himself, he thinks he can translate this to do it for the rest of the country. Why has he not been so lucky? I think this is what we're going to be looking at. Is he not building enough consensus around this? People like Kasim Afigbo are even telling him now that, look, you are destined never to rule the country. I don't know why anybody want to tell anybody that. But this is Sis time, and Sis could be a charm. Sis could be maybe this is his break. But again, he has to also worry about some of the other deep issues within the PDP. Some of the PDP governors saying that, no, it's time for the South to produce the president. That is, I think, one of his biggest hurdles right now. And then, of course, he has to also deal with the crisis of really re-energizing his base. He really had a good showing the last time, articulated as the slogan was. Can he bring back some of those magic, some of those moments, and some of those consensus around his personality? These are the things, the kind of questions I think analysts will be asking, and the kind of issue that will be around his bid for presidency.
Emmanuel, without the politics, to have the politics rather, you'd need a country, and to have a country, you'd need some money to run the country. The president is talking tough, is moving against oil thieves, and is deploying Silva Kyari, and the chief of defense staff, to the Niger Delta. Now, This Day newspaper is reporting that an official has decried 80% of the oil pumped in the country, particularly in the east, is stolen. Emmanuel, if 80% of oil pumped in Nigeria is stolen, does this mean the country's been running on vibes?
Well, that's what it means. But then the other biggest, the big picture here is that at least someone finally, this day has been on this story, Emmanuel Ade reporting on those oil theft again and again, and some of the things around there. So it's a good thing that our reports, the This Day report, is beginning to elicit some kind of action, because that's what a good report does. A good report prompts action. And that's what This Day reporting on this issue has. And we've been on this story again and again. Yes, Tony Elumelu said the other day that it's 95%. Some other person says 80%. Whatever percentage it is, those oil thefts are going on. It's a good thing. And we'll be saying it on this program here, that look, someone needs to do something. There's need for the kind of tough action right now that the president is considering. And it shouldn't be just mere talk. It should be real action. It's treasonable. It's treasonous that those thefts were going on, and they should be treated like vandals. The minister too is talking real tough, and that they are going to work with host communities, because that's very important. It is those communities that this team really need to focus on, because they, like the minister said, they know where this theft is happening, where this vandalism is going on. So we're going to see. It's important that this happen. But again, the bigger picture for me is the fact that our stories are beginning to resonate in places where they should resonate, and some actions are being carried out. Right now, we can't even meet our global outputs. OPEC is waiting. We can meet those global. There are global emergencies that should have shut up, the earnings of oil in the country. But because we can't meet those outputs due to this particular problem, and I think it's a good thing it's been dealt with.
All right, Emmanuel, I'm afraid we're going to leave it there. Some other issues we would have talked about, the 8412 of the Electoral Act. Well, we can't talk about that now because of time. Thank you so much for your contributions on Daybreak.